ESPN's Wallace Matthews with Armen and Levack on 104.5. The team were live from Saratoga Racecourse today. Wally, earlier this week, the Yankees had their September call-ups. What's the one thing about these call-ups that will help this team the most?
Probably just the sheer numbers. I mean, you have young guys who can pinch run for some of the older guys. I mean, the guy that was the most surprising to me, obviously, was Rico Noel, who was hitting like 0.59 in Scranton, but he was brought up here purely to be a pinch runner. I mean, obviously, they have to get some legs out of the game late in the game. We saw it the other day in Boston. The Yankees had, I believe, like 4 hits of runners in scoring position that didn't score anybody because nobody could score from second. So obviously, that'll help them a bit. I mean, I know a lot of fans wanted to see Rob Refsnyder very badly, but I don't think he's going to play all that much now that Stephen Drew is hitting the ball. There's really no need to replace him in the lineup, and especially because Refsnyder could cost you something on the field. He's not a very good second baseman, certainly not the caliber of Stephen Drew. And I think you have a few more bullpen arms. Otherwise, I mean, none of the guys they brought up is going to make the difference between making the playoffs and not making it.
ESPN's Wally Matthews with Armen and Levack. Aaron Judge not on the call-ups. How far away is he?
A year, probably a year. Don't forget, this is a guy that started the year in Double-A, struggled a bit in Triple-A, especially later in the year. Still working on his defense. I don't think you'll see him until sometime next year. I'm sure, he'll be in big league training camp in February, and very often guys who come to their second training camp are even better than they were in their first training camp, and he was pretty good in his first one. So, I think you'll see development in him between now and next year, but the Yankees clearly felt he wasn't quite ready yet.
Wally, when we look at CC Sabathia, he's going to face some live hitters. What happens when he gets back? What happens to this rotation?
That's a fabulous question. I mean, the other day, Brian Cashman said the plan is that he goes back in, which means that you probably move somebody else out. And, who do you move out at this point? You certainly aren't going to move Severino out. Would you move Ivan Nova in favor of CC? I don't think so. I mean, I think it's a kind of a sticky problem because you're talking about a guy who's a former Cy Young winner, a guy who's never pitched out of the bullpen, a guy with a lot of pride. I think it's going to be a really sticky call for Brian Cashman, but I also think that there's a possibility that he's not ready to come back and that it doesn't become a real issue.
Wallace Matthews with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. We're live from Saratoga Racecourse at ESPN NY Yankees on Twitter is Wally Matthews. Wally, Girardi is catching a lot of heat for burning up the bullpen. Has he been managing those guys poorly?
It's tough to really put your finger on it. I know everybody's talking about the game in Fenway Park the other day. I mean, the Yankees were up 12-1 at some point, and you would obviously, if somebody had asked you after the fifth inning, you think Betances and Miller will pitch today, you'd say, what are you, out of your mind? And of course, both of them did. I think that it was a sign that he knew he could not possibly lose that game. You know what I'm saying? There was just no chance, even though the Blue Jays hadn't even taken the field yet. I think it's assumed that they're going to win most days. I think he realized the importance of protecting that lead. Was it a mistake? It's a mistake if these guys come up sore and can't pitch, in important games later on. But I think he had to win that game, so I really can't fault him too much for that.
Hey, Wally, what's your reaction to Teixeira going on the 15-day DL today?
Is kind of a surprise to me because generally you don't do that after they extend the rosters. That's retroactive to the 27th, which means he won't even be ready to come off that until the 10th. Brian Cashman said the other day it would be at least 2 weeks. The guy's on crutches. The chances are, I think there's as good a chance he doesn't play again this year as he does. And I think it does hurt them. I think Greg Bird has been okay, as a fill-in. He hit a home run the other day. He's hitting pretty well. I don't think he's the first baseman that Teixeira is. And I think that, a lot of the infield play for the Yankees has been saved somewhat by Teixeira. There's been a lot of bounce throws that he's dug out. Bird's done okay with it. But he's not Tex. Tex is a 5-time Gold Glover, and for good reason. And I think, the place that they'll miss him, obviously they're going to miss his bat in the middle of the lineup, but I think they're also going to miss him on the field.
Any chance it affects them so greatly they don't make the wild card?
No, I think they'll make the wild card. I do not think they're winning the division because, frankly, I just think that Toronto is a team on fire right now. I could be wrong about that. There are 30 games. A lot of things can happen. But I don't think they fall out of wild card contention. Could they fall to the point where they're the second wild card? Yeah, and have to play that game on the road. Sure, that's definitely a possibility. But I think they have enough soft spots here in the schedule. You got Tampa Bay coming in this weekend. They've been awful. You've got games against Baltimore that they should win. I think that, they probably have enough soft spots in the schedule if they can hold on to the wild card spot.
Okay, so in the next 13 games against AL East opponents, what's the realistic win total out of that baker's dozen? 3
with Tampa, 3 with Baltimore.
Yep.
They should win 4 out of those 6 games, and who knows how many they win out of we've seen them play well against Toronto in the past, and we've seen them play horribly. Let's say there's 4 games with Toronto or 3?
This is the 4 game with Toronto.
4 game, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Wow. They got to split that. They got to win 4 out of 6 and split those 2 games there. Can they do that? I don't know. So that would be 6 out of 10. They got to clean up on the other 2 teams. They got to clean up on Tampa Bay and Baltimore. And honestly, they just did that with Atlanta and Boston. They did exactly what they needed to do. Losing that Friday night game in Boston did not help them, obviously. It was a game, obviously a winnable game, but, to win 5 out of 6, I don't think you can really expect much more than that. And I think that's what they got to try to do with Baltimore and Tampa.
And, Wally, you believe that the Blue Jays are so good, they're going to fly away, no pun intended.
I think they're very good, yeah. I mean, I think they're good both pitching-wise and hitting-wise. Obviously there's always been, one flaw there, so it's usually the pitching. They always can hit. But now they appear to be healthy. They're hitting. They seem to be a team playing with confidence, a team that believes they're going to win. I mean, just look at how many early leads they jump out to in their games. Like, they come out on fire. Will they hold that through the whole month of September? Maybe, maybe not. But I would err on the side of yes, they will continue to play that well. And if the Yankees are smart, they should assume that as well and just go out there every day saying we can't afford to lose any games to anybody.
ESPN's Wallace Matthews, he follows the New York Yankees very closely, better than anyone else on Twitter, at ESPN NY Yankees, online as well, ESPNNewYork.com. Wally, enjoy the Labor Day weekend watching some Yankees baseball, my friend.
All right, enjoy the spa. I wish I was up there with you guys.
There you go, man. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's the last weekend, so we're trying to rock it out in style.
All right, hit that pick 6.
You got it, man. We had the bankroll.
All right, guys, take care.